Hi, this is Aaron Wilson. Wanted to update you guys heading into the second rounds and third rounds of the draft and latest on what I'm hearing. The Texans could move back from the 34th pick, so might the Cleveland Browns at 33. The player that I'm hearing is prompting the move up scenarios for teams, including the Tennessee Titans, is Missouri wide receiver Luther Burden. That's not necessarily the target for Cleveland, which has interest in Travion Henderson, the Ohio State running back. And for the Texans, they're looking for an offensive lineman still, and Arante Ursary from Minnesota, the Big Ten Offensive Lineman of the Year. And they have a good opinion on Anthony Belton, who was scheduled to visit, couldn't fit it into his 18 visits he took. Road grading, mauling offensive lineman. Ursary, a taller, pure tackle type, a good football player that did well against Abdul Carter, the Penn State star pass rusher. So, yeah, some good players there. And as Nick Caserio said, he's got 5 picks. He's got a lot of options. He thinks he can get some pretty good football players. I agree. He's got the 2 second-round picks. He might even acquire more draft capital. And he's got 3 third-round selections after the trades he's already been in. So you look at everything with, what might happen with the Texans and, this whole situation. It's obviously very fluid. But the value of moving back could be, I would say, superior than picking at 34 if you don't think the player necessarily should go at 34. And obviously, you want to get the most out of your draft capital and its currency. So, Nick, who follows a lot of stock market principles from his background after John Carroll University working in the financial sector, he understands that very well from his time with the Patriots, with Bill Belichick, and to now how he runs the Texans. So, yeah, that's something that could happen. Not saying it will. I'm not reporting that will definitely happen. I'm saying that is in play. I'm hearing that from around the league. As Nick says, they're in a good spot. So, we're talking about Arante Ursary, good football player. They're not the only ones that liked him, but he did visit along with the Jets, the Chiefs, the Saints, the Patriots, Bengals, Panthers, and Vikings. And then when it comes to Belton, who's massive, he's actually down to 336. He's been doing a good job of getting in shape. At one point, he was much heavier. He's lost a lot of weight. He plays with great leverage. And he had 18 visits, including the Philadelphia Eagles, the Green Bay Packers, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Baltimore Ravens, Arizona Cardinals. And like I said, he was not able to visit the Texans. And I want to run down the whole visit list that I reported and can confirm as these guys did visit, including some of the guys that are off the board in the first round. So I'm going to kind of read a little bit, and I wrote this article for KPRC2. Luther Burden, Missouri wide receiver, visit. Ohio State offensive lineman Donovan Jackson, now with the Minnesota Vikings, a visit. Texas wide receiver Matthew Golden, now with the Green Bay Packers, a visit. Texas running back Jaden Blue, who told me that the Texans let him know that they would like to add a speed back potentially to go with Joe Mixon. Very interesting. LSU guard Miles Frazier, day 3 type of guy, good alignment, and thought he would help them if they were able to get him later in the draft. Texas defensive tackle Luther Burden from Cypress Ridge, big 2-gapping defensive tackle. Texas defensive tackle Alfred Collins, another good football player, could help them. He visited. Michigan defensive tackle Kenneth Grant, who's now a Miami Dolphin. USC nickel corner Jalen Smith, some positional flexibility with Jalen. Mississippi wide receiver Trey Harris, a contested catch, deep threat, big target kind of guy. Don't know if he would be picked early in the second round, could be a third rounder. The aforementioned Minnesota offensive tackle Arante Ursary, Connecticut offensive tackle Chase Lunt, Michigan State offensive guard and center Luke Newman, more of a day 3 guy. Ohio State defensive tackle Tyleik Williams, now with the Detroit Lions, first-round pick. North Dakota State offensive tackle Gray Zabel, now with the Seattle Seahawks at 18th overall. It's a name I've been told to keep an eye on. South Carolina defensive tackle T.J. Sanders, who visited, and he's a potential good defensive tackle for them. Met with a lot of defensive tackles. Texas A&M defensive tackle Shamar Turner. Texas A&M defensive end Shamar Stewart, now with the Cincinnati Bengals. Great traits, outstanding athlete. Didn't have the production, but he's an exciting prospect. Texas A&M defensive end Nick Skirton. So they met with all the Aggies guys, the top guys. Ohio State speedy running back Quinshawn Judkins. He's outstanding. I think he could really help them. Or Travion Henderson, who had a Zoom with the Texans. Iowa running back Caleb Johnson, Good football player, more of a downhill runner, not necessarily the fastest. Miami's pass catching tight end Elijah Arroyo. William & Mary, very athletic offensive tackle Charles Grant, team captain, former wrestler, did well at Senior Bowl. As I mentioned, Anthony Belton did not visit but was scheduled. They weren't able to work it out. USC linebacker Easton Mascarenas Arnold, more of a special teamer. Central Florida corner Mac McWilliams did really well at the All-Star game level, and he would be a competitive guy. East Carolina corner Siobhan Revel, he's someone that they could look at. There's definitely some interest in there, and he's a guy coming off of an ACL. Washington State wide receiver Kyle Williams, potential third rounder. I think he makes some sense there. Speed guy, elusive, after catch. Oregon offensive tackle Josh Connolly Jr., who of course is now with the Washington Commanders, and so he's off the board. UCLA edge Oluwafemi Oladejo, good player, could see that happening. Yep. And then Florida State defensive tackle Josh Farmer, SMU running back Brashard Smith. So yeah, I'm gonna get this video up, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks a lot for your time.